Hello everybody, welcome to my birthday book haul. So, what I had decided, just probably a couple weeks ago, was that instead of doing a birthday book haul where I just went to one place on one day and bought books for my birthday, bought birthday books, I decided to accumulate all of the books I had purchased or been gifted during the summer and call that my birthday book haul. So we've got a lot of work to do. That's not the only stack. We have a lot of work to do. To make this less chaotic, I have attempted to group these books into categories. So we have gifted, we have purchased new, and we have purchased used. And we also have Nancy Drew as a separate category entirely. So, without further ado, let's start with the gifted books. So these were all gifted by some lovely Bookstagram followers and friends of mine. This one, my first Toni Morrison, was gifted to me by my friend Amanda, and I'm very, very excited because I've been wanting to collect all of these paperbacks with the cool cursive font, and I've heard great things about Toni Morrison, so I'm really, really excited about this one. So thank you, Amanda. This one was gifted to me by my sister-in-law, Haley. Shout out, Haley. Thank you so much. And it's probably the first Christmas-themed book that I ever owned. I might have another one in the stack of used books somewhere, but I'm not typically one to buy seasonal books. So I'm really excited to have this because I will definitely be wanting a cozy holiday read, and this seems like a good one. And then we have Never Whistle at Night, which is an Indigenous dark fiction anthology, and I got this from Courtney, and I'm very, very excited. I've heard great spooky things about this book, and I'm probably going to be reading this during spooky season to satisfy my love for mythologies and folklores and legends and things like that. Lastly, we have Legends and Lattes. That was gifted to me by Ashley. Thank you so much, Ashley. I have heard incredible things about this book, just such cozy, fantastical reviews, and I'm very excited to try this one out. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't read it yet, but now I will definitely be reading it because it's on my shelves. I have full access. So exciting. So those were all my gifteds. Now let's get to the Nancys. So the first one we've got is one of the paperbacks. I got this from a library book sale for, I think, 25 cents. This is The Greek Symbol Mystery. And this is a cover that I have not really seen for this title. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm very excited to have this one. My mother-in-law got me this one, The Secret of the Old Lace. So I'm happy to have that in my collection as well. And then off of Pango, which is my new obsession, I got a box set of the Nancy Drew Girl Detective series, Ultimate Nancy Drew Collection number 2. So we've got numbers 10 through 16 in here. Very excited, and they're all in really good condition. And then my cousin Allison, she did the greatest thing. She did the greatest thing ever and got me the Nancy Drew cookbook. And this one is most definitely vintage because in the top corner, we've got an inscription to Diane. Looks like from her aunt and uncle in 1973. So that's just so fun. And then we have the brand new books. I don't often purchase new books, but when I do, I have a good time. So first off, we've got the mass market paperback cover for The Institute by Stephen King. We've got The Ring, which I've seen the movie for but have never read the book, so I'm very excited to have this. I've heard great things. There's Always This Year. On Basketball and Ascension. I don't really know what to expect, but I've heard it's very poetic and beautiful, and just a book that you can learn so many things. I almost dropped it. So many things from. So, very excited. And then I found this at Barnes & Noble. Better Living by Their Own Bootstraps. Black Women's Activism in Rural Arkansas, 1914 to 1965. So just a small little paperback of Black women's history in Arkansas. I always love learning about women in activism, especially women of color, but when it's women of color in Arkansas activism, please, how could I pass this up? Then we've got Reclaiming Your Community. You don't have to move out of your neighborhood to live in a better one. Another small activist handbook, basically. I haven't really heard anything about this book, so I'm excited to dive into it. It looks like it's just going to be a lot of stories from the author of what her experience was like living in a low-income, low-status community, and how she worked and invested in her community to make it better. So I'm excited about that. The little tagline up here says, "Creating an enduring legacy of community wealth, pride, and power." And I'll tell you why I bought this one, Microactivism. It's because there's a quiz in there that tells you what kind of activist you are. And I'll tell you right now that I'm a mix between, hold on, I have to get to the page, the indispensable, one of the many background people working to make change, and the organizer. You keep things on schedule and address the various assignments. That's me, baby. I love a behind-the-scenes organizational task. Then we've got another horror story, Mr. Magic. This one, some child actors are going back to their old TV set to kind of discover the mystery of why the TV series ended in the first place. And it sounds very spooky, very culty, and I'm really excited about it. Home is Where the Bodies Are, found footage, suspense, murder, all kinds of horror things. I've heard very mixed reviews on this. It's either like I loved it or I hated it, so I'm a little bit nervous. But I'm glad to own it. It looks very cool. And then we've got 2 stacks of used books. What else would you expect from me? First, we have One Day in December by Josie Silver. This is the mass market paperback version. And I got this at a little used bookstore, obviously, and it was free. So I was like, I gotta take it. Of course. So we've got that one. This is another one that my mother-in-law got me, Leaves of Grass. It's one that I've never read, but I definitely should. The Silence of the Lambs, a movie that I love, but a book series that I've never read. So I'm really, really excited. I got this from a library sale, so super, super cheap. This one also came from a used bookstore. If you follow me on Goodreads and Storygraph, you know that I have been reading this series recently. Currently, I'm only on the 3rd book, and this is like number 20 or something, but I couldn't pass it up because it was so cheap. It was like $1. And it's another good Christmas book to have. These are fun because they have little recipes in there in between chapters sometimes. So, that's fun. Joyland by Stephen King, another Stephen King book for my shelves. I've heard incredible things about this one, and I feel like it's also kind of one of the underrated Stephen Kings, so I'm really excited. I keep saying that I'm really excited about every single book, but I am truly very excited. Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. I've heard that this kind of gives Gilmore Girls vibes, which is something that I'm really, really looking for, especially during the fall season. 1996, so 90s girlhood vibes. Love it. What more could you ask for? This one I got from a friend's garage sale, Anxious People. I've been wanting to get into Frederick Bachman, and I have a couple of his books on my shelves that I just haven't dove into yet. So I have this on my shelf to motivate me to get into him, because I feel like I've only heard good things. This is a book that I have never heard of, but I saw it and it was $1 and I was like, okay, slay. This is All the Lonely People by Mike Gale. I'll read you the synopsis in case you don't know what this is about either. In weekly phone calls to his daughter in Australia, widower Hubert Bird paints a picture of the perfect retirement in London, packed with fun, friendship, and fulfillment. But it's a lie. In reality, Hubert's days are all the same, dragging on without him seeing a single soul, until his daughter says she's coming for a visit. It's good news that turns out to be the worst news ever. News that will force him out again into a world that made him suffer for being a black immigrant from Jamaica, the same world he has long since turned his back on. Now Hubert faces a seemingly impossible task, to make his real life resemble his fake life before the truth comes out. By turns, a funny and moving meditation on love, race, old age, and friendship, All the Lonely People, is an uplifting reminder of the power of ordinary people to make an extraordinary difference. It seems so wholesome, and I just think it'll be really good. It feels pretty thick. One of the thicker books that I've picked up in a while, so I might be putting this one off for a minute, but I'm excited to have it regardless. And then we've got a classic that I've never read, Their Eyes Were Watching God. It's a classic for a reason, I'm sure, so I'm excited to read it. An enduring Southern love story, sparkling with wit, beauty, and heartfelt wisdom. This one I've read before, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, and it was such a fun read. I listened to it on audiobook, so I figured I would get the physical copy. This one came from a garage sale as well. I just started the second book in this series, so I'm glad to have it. This one I got from an antique store for $4. It's my name. How could I pass it up? Also, this is the coolest cover that I've ever seen for this book, because I have heard of it before, but this particular copy came from the 80s, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 1981. So, you know I love a good vintage find. Then we've got another library sale, Say Nothing. I've heard great things about this book. I have no idea what it's about, but I've heard great things, and I love a nonfiction read, as you know. So I can't pass it up. How could I say no? Another library book find, Becoming, by Michelle Obama. And then we have The Vanishing Half, which I listened to on an audiobook, I think at the beginning of this year, and I really, really loved it and wanted to have it on my shelves to be able to reread it at some point. So now I have it. This one was a Pango Books find, Bright Young Women. I've heard great things, so I'm very excited about it. Another Pango find, The 7-Year Slip. I've heard nothing but good things, and I've been wanting to get back into romance, so this seems like a good one. This one was free at my library sale. Goosebumps. You know I love a good children's book from the 90s. How could I pass it up? Another library sale find, one that I had never heard of, but it looked cool. The Sunday Philosophy Club by Alexander McCall Smith. Let's see, I'm gonna read the back of it. In this first installment, Isabel is attending a concert in the Usher Hall when she witnesses a man fall from the upper balcony. Isabel can't help wondering whether it was the result of mischance or mischief. Against the best advice of her no-nonsense housekeeper Grace, her bassoon-playing friend Jamie, and even her romantically challenged niece Kat, she is morally bound to solve this case. Complete with wonderful Edinburgh atmosphere and characters straight out of a Robert Burns poem, the Sunday Philosophy Club is a delightful treat from one of our most beloved authors. Wow. That sounds interesting. It sounds kind of like cozy mystery vibes. So that'll be fun. And then I got Carrie Fisher Wishful Drinking from my library sale as well. So, I'm really excited. That's so many books. I'm honestly kind of overwhelmed. But that is so exciting. I don't even know. Let's see if I can pick out my top 10 priority reads. I'll do that really quick. Okay, I've got them. I've got the top 10 priorities. This is not saying that I think these will all be my favorites. It's just the ones that I want to read first out of all of this. So first, We've got Thomas Harris's The Silence of the Lambs, because obviously loved the movie, love a good FBI serial killer story. I can't wait to read this. I cannot wait. I'm sure I'll read it like within the next couple of weeks. Then we've got Home is Where the Bodies Are. I am putting this on my top 10 because I am nervous to read it, and so I really want to get it out of the way, because if I hate it, I just want to hate it and move on. But if I love it, then I love it, and it's great. So, fingers crossed that I love it. Fingers crossed that I love it. But I don't have high hopes. Then we've got Love by Toni Morrison. Obviously, I already said it, I really want to get into her. So I figure the best time to start is now. So she's on my top 10. Never Whistle at Night is also in my top 10 because I'm really intrigued by the concept of Indigenous dark fiction. And I'm so fascinated by the whole thing. It sounds so chilling and haunting and eerie. Oh, I can't wait. Legends and Lattes, because I love a good cozy fiction, and I've heard great things about it, so why would I put it off any longer? Another horror movie that I've seen that I loved and that I want to read the story to. Top 10. We're sensing a theme here. I'm really into horror right now, I guess, so Mr. Magic is also on my top 10. I really can't wait to read this. And it seems like it's going to tie in nostalgia with horror, which I also think is so fascinating and interesting. And it's not a huge book, so I feel like I can finish it pretty quickly. Top 10. Joyland by Stephen King. Top 10. What else can I say? I love Stephen King. I think he's phenomenal. Their Eyes Were Watching God, a classic that I haven't read, and I really want to do better about reading classics, especially when it involves stories of color and they were written by people of color. Really want to diversify my shelves and my reading list. And then we've got Bright Young Women, another story of suspense, and I'm just so intrigued by this. I can't wait. So yeah, those were all the books that I put into my birthday book haul. Happy birthday to me. If you've read any of these books and loved them or hated them, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think I should read next. Let me know what you want to read out of all of these books. And that's going to be all for today. I just wanted to do a quick little thing and put it out there. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you're not following me on Bookstagram, you can follow me right here. That's where I post all of my reviews and my reading updates and all the things. So, see you later.